the Monday Night Messiah, the one man that week in and week out, if he is healthy, he is there and on Monday Night Raw. Seth Rollins, to put it plain and simple, he leveled up. He leveled up at WrestleMania. And I said this a couple weeks ago, so I'm going to do a little I told you so moment. I think it was 3 weeks ago, maybe 4. I said, coming out of WrestleMania, we will see the best version we have ever seen of Seth frickin' Rollins. Well, here we are on the Wednesday after, and everybody is talking about Seth because he leveled up at WrestleMania, and now he is the best version that we have ever seen of himself. The main event between him, Roman Reigns, and CM Punk lived up to and, to me, surpassed all expectations. There were high expectations because they are 3 of the biggest stars in this industry in the peak of their career. At the very least, Rollins and Reigns are at the peak of their career, and CM Punk is still good enough in ring to where he can keep up with these guys. But storytelling was peak. In-ring work was peak. And then the turn. Paul Heyman, who came down to the ring with CM Punk, all smiles as Living Color was playing Cult of Personality on the WrestleMania stage, gets the chair, has a decision to make between CM Punk and Roman Reigns, and he goes with CM Punk, gives him the chair. At that moment, I thought, man, this would be a perfect time to just look at both of them and then slide the chair right in between them and have it slide right to Seth Rollins. But no, that's too easy. We need to build the tension a little bit more. He gives the chair to CM Punk, gets in the ring, which at that point you should have known something was up because Paul Heyman doesn't get in the ring during the match, really ever. He gets in the ring, which should have sent, the bat signal up that something's aloof or something's afoot here. I can't get my words straight today, but something was afoot when Paul Heyman got into the ring with CM Punk mid-match. Gives the old low blow to CM Punk, and Roman Reigns is in his feels. He says, I knew that you were my wise man. I knew that you wouldn't turn your back on me. And Heyman hands Reigns the chair, looks at Seth Rollins with his back turned and says, it's the Shield. It's perfect. Roman puts Paul Heyman behind him, and Heyman says, you know what? Shouldn't have done that. Shouldn't have done that. And another low blow leads to the 1, 2, 3. Seth frickin' Rollins walks out of WrestleMania the winner of this massive triple threat that was billed as being for the soul of WWE. Not only does he walk out with the soul of WWE firmly in his back pocket, he walks out with the wise man, Paul Heyman. The execution of this storyline has been flawless. Those, myself included, who were a little bit skeptical coming out of Royal Rumble that this was the direction that they were going, I think if you polled everybody that was skeptical, 99% would look at this now and say, yeah, they pulled it off. 100%. This was great. And the best thing is, Triple H was talking to Sam Rosenberg on WWE's YouTube channel last week, and he said the reason that this is the right time for the triple threat is because this is the beginning of the story between these 3. This is not the end. It's not even the middle. This is the beginning. You do the triple threat, and there's so much meat on the bone between Rollins and Punk, between Rollins and Reigns, between Punk and Reigns, that they can all have those individual feuds as time goes on. But this is the beginning of it. And at the beginning of it all is Seth frickin' Rollins siding with Paul Heyman. Sorry, Paul Heyman siding with Seth Rollins, because Rollins was the catalyst for all of this leading up to WrestleMania. So it is Heyman siding with Rollins, and now we have something very exciting. We have a more regular appearance from Paul Heyman on television. We have Rollins actually getting to capitalize on his Mania momentum. Don't forget, last year, everybody gave him his flowers. Everybody said Seth Rollins, the MVP of WrestleMania 40. But he couldn't capitalize on that because he had to go get multiple surgeries. He was on the shelf for months, came back and wasn't probably fully healthy at that point, and then goes back on the shelf, disappears for another month or so, and then comes back. At that point, yeah, you're the MVP. Yeah, you got to main event WrestleMania 40 on night 1 and then be a big part of 2 different segments of night 2, but you can't build off of that. Not 6-7 months down the road after you've been gone, after all the other stories have been told, and now you're trying to reinsert yourself. But no, not this year. This year, WrestleMania 41, Seth Rollins is one of the biggest names coming out of the weekend, and Seth Rollins is healthy. Seth Rollins is present. Seth Rollins is ready to take over WWE. He can build and capitalize on this momentum, and we get to see it play out over the next however long this story is going to be. It could be multiple years because Paul Heyman doesn't side with somebody for 2 months. The CM Punk thing was just a bring back of history. This is new. This is fresh. This is something that we are going to see play out over the next year, maybe multiple. It's going to lead into WrestleMania 42 in some way, shape, or form, and it might go beyond that. And the switch was the contract signing. Everything from that 3-man contract signing on Smackdown to now has been flawless. The change, the flip in the character and the motivations of Seth Rollins has been evident. Up until that point, the only thing Seth would say in every single promo, every single appearance, my goal is to prevent CM Punk from main eventing WrestleMania. And then it changed slightly to my goal is to prevent CM Punk from getting to WrestleMania. That's why they were in a steel cage match. He was trying to put him on the shelf, so he missed a second consecutive Mania. He failed in those goals. He did. And how do you respond? By becoming the best version of yourself, winning that WrestleMania match, and now being at the top of the industry, coming out of its biggest weekend of the year. Great promos, amazing in the ring at WrestleMania. That pedigree where he caught Roman Reigns midair during a spear was 1000% the spot of the weekend. Like, there were other great ones. Jade Cargill had a couple of amazing moments, but that pedigree was the spot of the weekend for me. The thorn crown glasses, the change in the outfit and his intro, everything about Seth Rollins on Saturday and on Monday was flawless. And now, on top of all of that, we get Braun Breaker.